Well, hello everyone. So it is, what is today? Wednesday. Wednesday is the Getting Shit Done peer group day. So let's go check in with everyone at the peer group. I'm not sure if they can actually hear me. They're all backstage. We're using the new tool, so let's level up and bring them on stage.
We can hear you.
I think they could hear me. I could see them smile. So, hey guys, how's it going?
Hey everybody.
How are you guys liking this super new professional image we have for CoStarting?
I thought you were gonna introduce us one at a time and make us say hello.
I was actually thinking about it, but let's one step at a time, right? Like little things.
Yeah, well, it's really amazing. Where did you find this tool?
I was playing with this before. So this is StreamYard, and I was actually looking at them again over the last couple of days. I was going back and forth between StreamYard and Restream. Mm-hmm. Quite simply, I have landed on StreamYard because it's cheaper to get to the level where you can remove the branding, the watermarks, right? Mm. But I already found one feature now over the course of today, which is kind of annoying, which it doesn't let me schedule or reuse the links. And I just tweeted at Restream if they allow me to. It seems like that might be possible. Because
well, then maybe there you just create like a bit.ly or something, or short URL, and keep that sent to everyone, and you just know to update that ahead of time.
That's why we do these groups. The pure wisdom right there. I have not thought of that.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going out on a high note. It was great being here. Let's see you guys.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is great. I love this meeting so far today because I was just talking to Emmy, listened to an Indie Hacker podcast where they introduced the peak end. What is it called? The peak end experience or whatever, the peak end method or something, whatever it's called. It's basically how you remember things, apparently, or it's part of how you remember things. And it's the average of the peak and the end of the experience, right? So let's say you go to a soccer game, whatever you, of course, personally interpreted as the peak, probably the best goal of the team you like. And then however kind of your evening ended, right? And that average is how you interpret personally your experience. So Justin was actually pretty on point there, saying it's like, all right, this was the peak. I'm gonna end it here. Doesn't get better.
It's the George Costanza method from Seinfeld.
Oh, it's that's funny. All right, cool. Yeah, so let's see how this tool works. I already scheduled a bunch of those meetings now, but I like the bit.ly part. That is actually super simple and really smart. Thank you, Justin. The only thing I don't like that is that with my overlay now we're hiding Steve's name, which he actually has his new company or project name in there, and it's Artflow, which we know from last week, of course. But so I do need to give him a shout out. But actually, I can probably.
That would be an overlay on top of your branding, so that's kind of odd. The names, the usernames. Yeah, so it really is just a PNG over the entire frame, right? Like this CoStarting peer group GSD. I can, if you guys want to see this, I can play with this a little bit. For example, I already created one for another stream, which we're going to have soon. So, just switching those out. Here's the live stream, the StreamYard default one. It is pretty simple, but again, they can't think of every eventuality, right? So I think what would fix it is if I do this, which I guess is good enough, right? Say that again?
Put the peer group thingy on the top. I mean,
I tried that.
Probably, but.
I tried that earlier. I don't remember why I decided against it again. Probably just ease of use and time because I had this PSD already.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, whatever the cropping or ratio was originally there, I felt very close. It's very zoomed in. Like right now, it's see, I had to move back in my chair.
So this one. Yeah, so this one doesn't refocus. I don't know how I focus on this one. I was hoping that this actually would autofocus on who is speaking.
You have to do that manually, probably.
And then whoever's at the bottom here is fully cut out. Almost.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need him anyway.
It must be the same person for everyone, huh?
Steve's not getting a lot of love here today.
Oh, was that Steve? I thought it was Justin.
Yeah, for me, it's
So
just
Steve was fully gone, and I was cut in half.
Oh, I didn't even notice Steve was gone. Sorry.
We'll leave the layout at this for now, and we see how it goes. I hope this actually is live streaming, because I'm not sure.
I think it is. It says live, 5 minutes, 37.
Let's assume it's coming through in YouTube.
Yeah, it's showing live on YouTube.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, so what's going on, everyone? How are I just noticed that Archie changed the name too. I love it. So let's dive right in. Tryrob.me. Did you end up buying the domain? We talked about it throughout the week.
I got the domain, so now it's pointing to the card, because I got the full membership, so I'm making use of it now. It's just a quick landing page with a sign up form from MailChimp. So maybe I'll share my screen, because I have something to share. After many weeks of not doing anything.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, hold on. It's asking me to change my preferences here. Okay.
In Chrome.
I'll be back. Okay.
Yeah, you have to quit.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you.
What do you guys think about my artistic background?
I like it. It's fun. Fun to look at.
That's the extent of my Photoshop skills.
I see.
Boy, was it intentionally like this? Because I thought, I don't know, it just the tool messed it up or something like that.
No, it's art, man. Don't you see it?
No, I can't see.
First time using filters, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna make it an NFT, and I was had high hopes for you, Timo, to buy it.
No, of course. I'm a huge investor in NFTs.
All right, share a screen. Can you guys see me and hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, good. So I want to show you these mock-ups that I created with, what's the name of this tool? Figma.
I cannot see your screen yet. No, okay, never mind.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I like the Figma thing, because it's really like PowerPoint, right? It's just drag and drop. You have these plugins for icons, and sort of it helped me just sketch out what I thought would be a good layout for the app. So the idea is, again, dry rubs. I searched even further, and there is no dry rub app. So I think that would be really a good starting point, and hopefully that will be a hit at least with the barbecue community. So here's just the idea that all the dry rubs will be displayed, right? And of course you have all this, the title, the description of what it is. Then the rating, I think that's a nice feature, right? And how many votes. Here I'm being, of course, optimistic, right? That hundreds of people are using it. But here the idea is that it's an infinite scroll down, as long as there are recipes for it. And then, as Sven pointed out, right? I think you should not prevent the person who buys the app from seeing the content. So the moment they click on favorites or new rub, this is when you trigger the sign in or the sign up. And only then you will be able to create your own lists or create a new rub, right? That you can share with others. So of course the profile is just there, just as a placeholder, but it's just perhaps your social statistics, right? In the app. Now, what I thought is when you click on a new dry rub recipe, so an image picker, just click, pulls your photos, and you maybe put a picture of either the rub or how it looks once you cook the food. And then these are just entry forms for the title of the recipe, a description. I think this is something that I would love to have for people to click on all that are applicable. Some rubs are better for veggies or chicken or whatever that is. And then the ingredients, I think this is a growing list where I want the recipes not to be in terms of grams or ounces or any real measurements, but rather in parts. Because when you're making these rubs, you care about the ratios, not about the exact amounts. So here is just the add-in, the add function, like you put what part is it and what the ingredient. And this placeholder, just to show you what I had in mind, is a visual representation of what your ingredients look like. And I think this is just, at least for me, something good to think about. And this is by volume, not by weight. So maybe I need to put in the clarification that this is by volume. And then these are your ratios. Of course, it's either this as a line that will auto resize based on how many ingredients you have on the screen, or maybe a pie chart, whatever that is. Maybe I'll test this out with a few potential users. And once you're done, you can publish it, right? Or if you're, in this case, it's just the viewing. Once you click on it, if you haven't signed up, you click on it and you are able to rate it, to make it favorite. Or this recycling icon is just the remix, meaning that when you click on it, it triggers a new recipe, but it copies the base ingredients, for example, and what's applicable for. Right, so the idea is that you can also build some variants of the recipe and trace that. So I think I like this Figma. It was a good suggestion. I believe, I don't recall who suggested this on the Slack channel, but this was very useful. And I'm really motivated to make this happen. So I'm kind of not jumping on coding it. I think I'll follow what you guys are suggesting, that first try it out, talk to people, see what the flaws are and so on. And maybe based on that, once you have a solid plan, a solid starting point, then really go for it and start coding it. I think it will be straightforward. I think it's very simple, but I think it's really kind of giving something new for this community. And there is no app for dry rub, so I'm excited about it.
Looks great. What about a way to share each rub? An easy way to share?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Oh, and what about on that screen, the last screen you showed, a way to share that?
Oh yeah. So the moment you click on publish, that's really pushed for everyone to see. And I guess for now the MVP is just to put it out there. I'm not really associating a dry rub to a person, maybe like what social networks would do. But I think maybe that's for the future, right? Because also in a way you want to grow some karma points in your, if you're putting out a lot of good recipes, you want that recognition.
Right. Well, I mean, like so if I want to share with you one that I found, though, how would I share that to you?
Oh, that's a good point. I did not consider that. That's a great point. Yeah.
So that way it still takes them directly to that page. So if they like it, or maybe even then require the sign up or whatever, you end up seeing the best way for engagement, though. But at least share it to that specific.
That's a great point. That's a great rub. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
There's the rub. You should can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You should tighten up your mock-ups and then place those on your website, and then kind of like just get everyone excited about it and just funnel everyone into that website and just get signups.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also I'm planning to be more active on Twitter. I now I see it. I think Twitter is the best platform for this type of co-starting, right? I see it with many of people who have participated in co-starting. So I am convinced about that. I just haven't done it because I feel that I need a better presence, right? And that's why I was asking about the logo and so on. But on the other hand, I think it's better just to start getting feedback early on and just take it from there. I think everything else is just like just cosmetics, but I think the core idea is well defined, in my opinion, and I think put it out there and just test it out before coding anything. I think that's a really good advice.
So you realize that the hardcore dry rub community really is hanging out on Twitter. I love it.
Yeah. All right.
Jokes will never end, I think.
No, the name is just too good.
Yeah, it really is. But I have a question, like regarding the part thingy. I mean, I personally like it, because it's super super convenient when you do the recipe. But people who create the recipe, probably for them it might be a huge pain in the ass. I mean, there are like many people that struggle with math in general, so they have like, I don't know, 5 ounces whatever, and then they need to make a part out of it. Maybe they start with their 5 ounces, then they have like, I don't know, they call it one part, then they have the next thing, they have like 13, then okay, what is 13 now? Okay, now I have to calculate everything. So it's super complicated, I think. And like, but I like that you make it like very specific, because the most things I hate when I see a recipe online is just when people write something like, yeah, and just throw in a little bit of salt. What is a little bit of salt? Come on.
Right. And I think that the part is in between exact measures and just this hand waving, because the thing is, like, when you have whatever you're cooking and you're making a rub, typically you collect all your ingredients into a container. And this is where you can see the ratios, because first you have the salt, then the pepper, then the garlic powder. So then you get or a spoon of it, right? So I think maybe a part is a better way to think about this, because if you're cooking 3 whole chickens, your measurements will be off, and then you need to do the calculation. But if you really make everything in terms of parts, it's really just getting a container or a spoon, and then you take it from there. But yeah, no, I mean, and I'm not disregarding what you're saying. I need to think about it, right? What would be the best? Maybe that's part of the testing that I should do.
You could also like make on the form when they go to submit just a little like tip, a little thing in parentheses that says tip. If your recipe is written in ounces, then add up all your ounces and divide or whatever, and just make it easier for them to figure out. So it's not like, oh shit, I have to convert this whole thing. Never mind, I'm not going to do it.
Or maybe you could convert that automatically.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if someone prefers to put it in grams, I can convert it into parts. Right.
Yeah.
No, good. Yeah, so I guess my next steps are really to test this out. First, put it out on Twitter, then get feedback, but also start engaging with real dry rub enthusiasts, right, and see what they think. And I have a few.
Yeah, I think Sven is the first one.
Yeah.
As soon as you come out with a tofu rub, I'm all yours, man.
What happened to dryrublover.com? You should have bought that domain.
Which one was the foreign?
Dryrublover.com.
Yeah. I think short is best. Dry rub.
Yeah, of course.
Dry rub me. Yeah.
It's just edgy enough, right? I think it's not actually really vulgar at all. It just sounds like it.
And when your user base, you can refer to them as rubheads.
All right.
Like rubbers.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
No, yeah. So look, I think this finding this as Steve puts it out, like a niche within a niche, it was really like a new start for me. I'm really now excited, motivated, and at the end of the day, something that I'm passionate about. So I'm really just making it happen, right? So yeah.
So one advice I would have is, as you now test these designs, because odds are they're not it, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing personal. It's just usually the first design anyway is not it. And odds are it's not really what your audience would maybe expect, right? So that's kind of what you should have in mind as you go test this. I think there's different ways of testing it, right? Like, of course, you can just put it in front of them and ask them what they think. But you could also to do that with one group. With the other group, you say, hey, I know you're totally into dry rubs. Could you picture an app which would help you with the creation process or sharing or whatever? And what would that look like? And then maybe even go further away. and don't even like, basically I'm going away from kind of asking leading questions, right?
Yeah.
Where maybe it's not even an app. Maybe you don't even suggest that. Because I think what your goal is to figure out what's different, what's special about rubs, right? About powdered concoctions, kind of, where, you know, like, and then it's your job to translate that into a tech product. Like, you know, you're already thinking with that part, right? But maybe then the UI, you already mentioned that last time a little bit. Maybe how you interact with the UI is different. Maybe the people who are thinking about, you know, elixirs are different than, you know, powdered concoctions, right? I have no idea, but I think that's kind of the mindset you need to get into. And it sounds silly, but that's I think what might make the big difference on the UX, right? The UX and the UI is what's going to make or break it, because ultimately the question, if I was an investor, I would be like, I don't know if this is an investment idea and to begin with, but if I was an investor and you approached me, I'd be like, well, so what's the difference between this and the recipe app, right? And I can use this app I'm already using for my recipes for dry rubs, but maybe the answer is it's the community, right? And not the UI. So kind of keep that in mind without getting too in love with the first approach of the idea, on trying to figure out what that audience you're trying to connect with now, what they're looking for. And this might just be the first hook to get, you know, in touch with them.
Right. No, yeah. So yeah, I'm now taking the next steps, and dry rubs are the future for me. So super focused.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, and it's I'm taking notes, so I'll follow up on that. Thank you.
Awesome, great. Glad to see your spirits back up, Arki.
Yeah,
awesome. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I actually got to hop off at like 7:45. So last week, I sent out a pretty extensive email to the like the missions and the missions team at the church and the head guy of the missions, and I'm waiting for responses back from 3 of them. Basically, what it entailed was an overview of the concept, and I broke it down into the pieces of how each piece works, so they can actually visualize how they'll use it. And then I sent them an actual, like, a very quick overview of the business plan, the vision, the business model, actually, just to include them in that and see what they also thought, which I thought was interesting to do. And the head of the pastor, who is actually a pretty good businessman, he runs his own business. He had mentioned that that charging either the church or the mission like a monthly fee to use the program might not be a good idea to start off with. That the fee structure, the transactional fee structure, should be the main component of what keeps the business running. So I thought that he brought up a good point there. So I guess for the first iteration, you know, in terms of whittling down the concept, that was a good start. And so, I mean, I haven't had a face-to-face meeting with all of them yet, which I plan on doing. So that's where I'm at right now. And the next week, I basically I'm trying to put together the website. You know, I'm going to create mock-ups for the website, just to start and to figure out how I should message it, because I have basically 3 types of users. How I'm going to delineate that on the website, and just start getting the word out and start creating some buzz around it, and start getting some actual users outside of what I already have going on with this current church. just to gain more information. So that's just going to entail creating the website, a quick funnel of some sort, and putting it out there like on Twitter and whatnot. So that's where I'm at right now.
Any feedback? Any questions before I have mine? Because I always have some.
Yeah.
So I don't recall hearing your new name, ArcFlow. So I mean, I like it. I think it captures what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking the whole. It's a play on like Noah's Ark and flow
and cash flow
and flood and actual like flow of money.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
I think it's a cool name. Yeah.
I was going to ask, so how does that revenue structure look then if you're not going to do a flat monthly rate or service fee? Then you said, is it per transaction then taking?
Yeah, so it's going to be, right now, it has to be, the Stripe fee on top of what my fee is. So a total of like 5% per transaction would be put onto the actual person who's giving to either the church or the mission for right now. That seems the best route to go. Instead of having to charge the church or the mission to use the service. I think it's an easier sell for the church and mission to actually push the product on their congregation or their audience. So that's just my thinking right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it'd probably be an easier sell to them, but then for you, oh, am I frozen? No, I'm back. But then for you, you lose some of that guaranteed revenue, right? If they end up never using the product, but you spend a significant amount of time building something up for them or getting it spun up, and they don't make one transaction, then you don't make a dime.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, if I charge them a monthly fee, I mean, I just don't know how it's going to play out. It's just early for me to say that they're going to want to pay a monthly fee, which eventually I see happening, just because of like, as you build out more features, you're going to probably want to start charging for just a monthly fee, $15 to $20 put onto the church, and then have your transactional fees put onto the people of the church who are giving to either the church or the organization. So my thought process is hold off on the monthly fee for right now, and see how it works out, see what my expenses are going to be. And then I guess my focus is just getting the transactional revenue model working, that would be awesome just to see that working at least, in one church, because that would be substantial going forward. Then you bring on one more church, then it's an exponential gain.
Be careful with that though, Steve. I want to echo what Justin is saying there, because first of all, with 5% total, that leaves only 1.1% for you, and not even considering that Stripe is actually charging 2.9% plus 29 cents per transaction. Be very, very careful on that, because that actually can put you in the hole if you're not calculating that very precisely. I have a gut feeling 1% is not going to be near enough to even cover your cost. Because if you look at something like Gumroad, or Buy Me a Coffee, they're charging usually like 5%, between 5% and 20% actually, on top of what the payment processing services are, right? So that you'll have to experiment with that, right? Pricing is not easy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I would say, don't let them push back so quickly, because of course people want stuff for free. Everyone does.
Right.
But ask yourself if that's really going to be a true test for you, which is enough for you to build it and have expense on your side,
Yeah.
Versus if you had 100 signups with a $99 price tag or whatever the price tag is, right? So this is kind of like the early testing phases where it's personality, like how much risk are you willing to take, certainly. And, you know, of course, you have kind of a value alignment you really want to make it work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think only getting paid when they actually get paid is a really good model. I deployed that in the past myself.
Yeah.
But it is a much more risky one, right? Because like Justin said, right, maybe you have even 1,000 churches on there in a matter of a month.
Mm-hmm.
But if no one's giving, you're not making any money. And then now you have the problem of trying to market for them to solicit, you know, donations for the church, which maybe is the model you want to get into, but it's different. So just be aware.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, good points.
Cool. Anything else? Or any questions about Noah's cash flow? No? All right. Then stage is up for grabs.
I wanted to show you guys my Loom video, but I realized I have no way of making the sound play. So I guess I'll just share it in Slack and you can tell me what you think.
Do you have a share video file? Or just share screen on your option?
Oh, video file.
Mine just says share screen.
Yeah, same for me.
But it's not a file, it's on Loom.
But you can download it. Send me the link, I'll download it while you give out an update and then I can play it in.
Okay.
While you do that, Steve, how much did that cost? Was that just a normal IO cost?
I think I paid $35.
So it sounds like all the IO domains are at least $50. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know, right?
They're exploiting that. Yeah, all the tech companies want the IO.
And I was just copying some other payment processor that I like. You know, they went up with an IO, so I was like, okay, that seems legit.
Oh, so
no
update.
problem when you got real unique names like me, like ChristySoftware.com.
Those things pop.
I already got it if you want to play the video first.
Sure.
All right. Oops, no, not that.
So, Emmy, we didn't get the newsletter this week.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. Hi guys, it's Emmy of Giglets Garments, and you might remember me or my company from the first CoStarting cohort, where it was my goal to begin to build a community around my textile upcycling projects and their positive impact on the environment. Now, in the last 2 months, I've met some really amazing people in the space, and I've been able to create some really cool things as well. In addition, my goals and my vision have really grown, and I've seen so much more to this path that can be accomplished. And that's where you guys come in. So the fashion and home decor industries are showing no signs of slowing down. If anything, they're just ever increasing. And the only logical way that we can move forward is to think of new ways to utilize the 11 billion tons of textiles that are being discarded by Americans every year and start to create artisan, eco-friendly products from that waste. And this is a picture from one of my partner companies, and this is less textiles than they process in a single day. And what's really interesting is that a lot of people already have these skills and talents that could be used to begin to process our waste into desirable items. So 53 million, or 1 in every 3 women, knows how to knit or crochet. And in keeping with the company's vision of social responsibility. I can see a business model that would provide work for people that might have a harder time finding employment elsewhere and may already possess those skills that they would need to create these things. And the demographic that I have in mind are retired and elderly people. The two major handmade markets that exist right now are Etsy and Amazon Handmade. In 2020, there were 4.3 million sellers selling on Etsy, and that shows you how big this market is. But the problem is that you have to do everything yourself, right? It's creating your own small business. So our knitters and seamstresses would be paid either a percentage of the sale price or a set cost for the number of goods they produce. And the patterns, the tutorials, the yarn, and the materials would be provided for them. I would make those connections with the vendors. And in return, they would also be honing and utilizing really beneficial skills, as 90% of knitters say that knitting decreases their anxiety and stress levels as well. So what is it that I'm asking from you guys, the CoStarting community and the community at large? That's a great question. I'd love to get a beta group together to see how people would react to the idea of kind of freelance knitting. I like that term. Also people who have experience kind of building a more eco-conscious business and the ins and outs of that, a more socially responsible business. I'm also interested in finding people who would actually want to build it, from, you know, building the website, building the platform, to actually helping me figure out the business model and how we're all going to make money together and save the world. So if that interests you at all, let me know. Thanks, guys. That's my video.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. I liked it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Gets to the point. It's good.
Where are you planning on sharing it?
That's what I was going to ask.
So that's the one I made for like hopefully to get some CoStarting people interested. And I mean, maybe some of my connections as well. And then put together that like deep dive call that we were talking about last week. So I'm not entirely sure yet where I'm going to share it, but
So
our community is a good start, I think.
So I think there's a lot in this video. The only thing which you just said, which I don't know if that's just me, that the call to action is actually trying to schedule a meeting, a brainstorming or deep dive.
Okay.
Wasn't entirely clear to me.
Yeah, it seemed like you were just kind of leaving it open to hearing some feedback in general.
Okay.
Which is also good, right? But might be a different type of ask.
Yeah, and maybe you in the video you could also put on how they can actually let you know, like your, I don't know,
Right.
Instagram or email or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but then I figured I needed to kind of coordinate with Sven to see if we wanted to like actually plan it, or wait and see if anyone's interested or what.
Yeah, I think that's up to you. You could, and that's a difficult question actually, because there's some psychology behind this, I think, right? Where the more you plan, the more you kind of make it something that will happen. And hey, would you want to join this and be part of it? Versus, hey, I'm planning on doing this. Are you interested in kind of being a part of it? You know, I'll let you know. Sign up here. There's pros and cons against both of those, I think, or for both of those. Yeah, I think the beauty of CoStarting and the community, as you know, as small and kind of intimate as it is still, is that you can have almost these conversations one-to-one, right? Like you could post that video in our Slack group and then just follow up with every single one in the Slack and be like, hey, just wanted to see if you had a chance to check my video. Maybe do some research on them and be like, Arki, I know you're really environmentally conscious. I would love to have you on there. There's really no requirement, but if you're on there and you have something interesting to say, I would love to hear it. Whatever. Just an example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
And it's
I do have some general updates too that aren't about that video. So if any.
So I wanted to say that I thought of, before launching, also what I was doing on Twitter. I was thinking of putting this on the general Slack, the CoStarting channel. I think that, as you said, it's still a small enough group kind of to get some early feedback, and then fine tune the real message once you put it out. So yeah, maybe I'll follow up on that as well.
Yeah.
But then again, there's also nothing against just sharing it on Twitter either, right? Like, especially for you, Arki, like the mock-ups and stuff like that, you can always share as an update along the way. And then once you are happy with it and you were looking for feedback, then your strategy is different. I think for Emmy, it's kind of like you don't want to put 3 or 4 different types of these videos out, and then they maybe watch the first one and then they didn't watch the last one where you were actually asking for joining that deep dive or something. That might be different. But I agree, like, have a clear ask. Like, I think you have an ask, but if you want it to be more precise to have some event like this, and then how are you going to be reached? Like, put a contact page, right? Put all of your stuff on there: website, blog, Twitter, Instagram. Give them the option, however they want to reach out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. True.
What do you want these what do you want these people to do? Let's say once they agree to like be part of your community. It's a community, right? For right now, or is it be part of the business that you're trying to build, like the handmade business?
Yeah. So I guess it's more focusing like on the. I guess I'm kind of considering like a pivot to, starting to think about like the company that might employ elderly people to knit up upcycled products, right? And how that would actually become real life.
Yeah. Okay. So, trying to think. So, do you want to like have people like your age interested? Like you are the persona of this company. Like handmade stuff. I love knitting. But then again, you want to reach out to them, and then what? You want them to like give you feedback, or to just let them know, or let you know that this is really cool idea. When you get it off the ground, let me know. And then, are they going to be buyers, or are they going to help you somehow build the business, be makers of your platform?
Yeah. So like there's a couple of different things, because I want to do the deep dive to kind of get people's insights on, just if they think, there is a business model there, if they have experience, maybe employing elderly people, who knows, maybe somebody knows someone who owns a nursing home and, it's illegal to use the elderly for work or something,
All right.
Things like that, just general community stuff. But then I also I would love to set up a beta group of people's grandmas who knit and see what they think about like selling knitting stuff knitting materials that I would send them and then selling it for a percentage and not having to worry about like the platform and selling it, you know? And just get kind of like feedback on how it would look from the maker's side.
Yeah.
Beta granny group. And I actually sold my first knit item a couple of days ago. So that was exciting because like I'm like thinking about knitting a lot more because it's super low. Like you don't have to buy a sewing machine is what I'm trying to say. You know, all you need is knitting needles. So I sold something. So that means something.
You should actually, first of all, you should try to get that person who bought into that group, right? Which I think what you're talking about, and I don't know if this is a term, but we'll coin this term again right now because that's what we do here, is business model brainstorming, right? Like that's, I think, what you want to do right now to kind of, you're still developing, I think, the concept, but you're already like, it's much more refined and concise than last week, right? And then as you go into this meeting, you are of course coming up with, you know, assumptions, hypotheses. This is kind of how I look at it. And then anyone who hopefully has some experience or interest in it can kind of give their feedback. And then you go back to the drawing board with that and kind of work on it and, you know, share that. I think that's what I'm hearing, right?
Yep.
So for that group, you should get that first buyer in there. That'll be awesome because they're part of the equation. Might not be the first focus point. Maybe it's that, you know, getting that supply side ready. But your demand side is important too, right? Like, why are they buying this? Is that message, that story about, you know, and Ginger knitting this, is that important to the buyers or not, right? So that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. You should create maybe just a form, like a type form, with all these questions that you have here. You have questions that you had mentioned, which are good questions, or maybe like a really cool interactive little website with like a chat box, you know, where you can interact and just send people to. Just different ways to gather that intel, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I gotta pop off, guys. I'll
pop off.
Get you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye, Steve. Okay, glad you're making progress, man.
All right.
I also today I found found out a new way to make my yarn like so much faster than I was making it before, and so like.
What's the way?
That to us?
Yeah.
What?
Trade secret.
Yeah.
Well, it's like instead of, you know how I was cutting each strip and then stringing them together, like if you take the one item and it has two sides and then you cut the strips but leave a part and then you just cut it diagonally, it makes one entire long.
I thought you were just tying together all the dog's fur.
Did we do this before? Like there was one moment I seem to remember where, I don't remember now, but I think you did this before on something. Like you just kind of zigzag, right? But not all the way through. You could of course also cut away in a circle or in a square, right? All the way to the middle.
Yeah, but then it would have turns.
Well, it does that if you cut zigzag too, right? Then it's folding in that spot.
Yeah.
But that's nice because I kept thinking since weeks about like how do we make that an industrial process to make the textile into yarn? Because if that, you know, granny army is going to take off knitting, we need to crank out this yarn, right? Out of the millions of upcycled t-shirts we're going to have.
Another great website, grannyarmy.com.
See, you guys, you gotta join CoStarting to get all of these great URLs for free.
Is it weird that I want to write that down?
No, write it down.
Not sure if it's free though.
Yeah. I started, Sven said it was too soon, but I started looking into like suppliers of wholesale bundles of textiles. And so that was kind of exciting too, because like they do exist and there's a lot of them. So that'll be fun when I get to that point.
Yeah, I think having it as an overview, right, is good. I do it myself always, right? Like I would have probably already written an email, be like, hey, I have this company, I employ all of these grannies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anything else on my listy? Oh, I got on Clubhouse finally and started, bebopping around in there. So that's fun. That's all. That's all I have on my update.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you guys, Justin, Timo, Arki, like having seen Emmy's progression over the last couple of months, how do you guys feel about this idea? Like this pivot, if you want to call it that. Like, how does it sound from how she describes the idea right now? Does it sound like a dumb idea? Does it sound like it's doable? Is there a business model there?
It's not even so much a pivot. It's like a whole new business, right? Where originally, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It was just to have a small business of you recycling into these new different products like dog beds and whatnot, and then scaling up that way, and that was it, right? Where here, this is like a whole different product offering to like outsource all this work to these senior citizens, I guess you could call them, and have them create all of this products from recycled fabrics and whatnot, and that to me, I guess in the end it's almost the same thing, but from inception onward, it's this massive could be a massive corporation behind the scenes, right? That's putting to use these bored old people and recycling all of this wasted fabric.
Yeah, not only this, I think you're doing good in many aspects here. You want to recycle the old fabric, and also you're helping maybe like elderly people to earn some extra bucks. I don't know if their retirement money is maybe not enough, especially here in Germany. Many people are struggling with this.
It's terrible in America.
Yeah. So so you're helping in many different realms. So that's a cool thing, I think, and maybe you can expand that. I don't know in what way, but I think what you're focusing on right now is pretty good.
I also I thought of incarcerated people in jail, and I really like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that would require a lot more teaching people how to knit, so that might be like a version 2, or something.
The question is, how do you get these elderly people to on the platform, let's say, because they're not very tech savvy, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
And to even learn about it, hear about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what jumps out at me is that what if the upcycling doesn't work out? I think this could still work without the textiles being upcycled, right? Meaning that you just get the textiles and you distribute them to this, the granny army, and then they can really. I think maybe because instead of focusing on two problems, now you're maybe focusing on one, which is if this is a model, maybe you can focus there and take the other part, which is also as complex as this one, as a second step. I think this could work out without the upcycling part.
Yeah. It would, like, for me personally, to want to do it as my business, I would at least have to have, like, there's a couple of yarn companies now that make like recycled bottle yarn. Like, I wouldn't want to be creating any more waste That's like completely against my ethics at this point in life. So yeah, I wouldn't be against like partnering with maybe those companies that do create the recycled yarn and skipping that step at least for a while.
Right.
I think what's actually at the core there, I knew you were going to say that, right? Because of course, where you were starting at was sustainability, not employing grannies, even though that is also a noble cause. But what Arki has a really good point there. At least you can look at it as two separate steps in the evolution of your company to test the granny army hypothesis without worrying about where the yarn is coming from, right? Because that is independent. That might be the cherry on top for them to actually do that with you instead of something similar that might exist. But if they're willing at all, or if you can reach them, if they would be able to use the platform, or if the senior living facility would be the intermediary, all of these assumptions are entirely independent of where the yarn comes from. So I think that's a really good point, Arki, to split those hypotheses, those almost two different sides of the business, right, between the demand and the supply and your channel partners and all of that. Like, you can look at these separate sections really separately. Very good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. That's super helpful.
Yeah, great progress.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine here with skipping this week. I don't have much anyway because I'm very interested to see where Timo is, especially leaving us a cliffhanger there, not answering Sven in Slack on if he's going to launch or not. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but because I have to go eat dinner here right after this, so I'll skip this week.
Give us a 30-second update.
Okay, so released version 1.2 of Optionator yesterday. Yeah, Tuesday. Created some new promo graphics as well to use in the App Store. That's live, still at 7 sales total, but just shy of 5,000 impressions and 200 product page views. But now that it's a much more stable product and I have some better promotional artwork, I'm going to start actually trying to drive more users and views there to it. And then also a couple of days ago started on the web developer utility app, which I found a couple of conflicts there that will be hard to have it published in the Mac App Store. So I might have to sell that separately outside of it. But things that I never thought of that came up as far as trying to sandbox the app properly and what Apple has as requirements are going to be an issue there with what I want to do with the app. But by no means a deal breaker or roadblock there. But yeah, so I luckily made some good progress over the past week, whereas the last week when I skipped this, I really did nothing for a full week.
Well, we're glad you're back.
Yeah, it sounds like progress. I don't think that's nothing.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
agree.
Well, thanks, guys. All right, so now Timo, drum roll.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, so Sven was asking me if I'm still on track for 1st of May. And, well, I must say, like, you weren't here last week, Justin, I think, right? So last week I was a little bit, not so motivated, let's say, but I think I got my motivation back because I guess the call from last week really helped me a little bit. To focus on what's important now to get the stuff out. So I just cut out all the things where I thought might be a little bit too fancy or take too long time, like too much time, like for example, like the color thingy I was talking about last week. So I made some cool progress, especially my teammate made some good progress as well. So we were able to finish the scene section, which we had, and also we had the this story template section, which unfortunately I cannot show it to you today because I'm using a different computer. My girlfriend is using my yeah, I'm happy to share it with you at some other point. I think the 1st of May might still be a little bit critical, because now I'm first of all, we still have a lot of bugs that we need to address and to fix, and also the whole guide section. My sister was writing some guides on how to actually approach storytelling for new people, and she has like a lot of content, and now I'm all the way in like splitting everything up and trying to find where to put it on the page and how to page. Now, was I gone, or was the
You froze for me for a couple seconds.
Not bad though.
Okay, so yeah. So now I'm in the process of like putting all of these guides on the right sections on the platform where they belong, and this is a lot more work than I thought. I already knew it's a lot of work, but it's really painful so far. And so yeah, but that's the only thing left to do, I would say. Just putting those guides up and fixing a lot of bugs, and then I think we're ready to go. So I really hope I can make it on 1st of May. Should be a Saturday, so yeah, well, maybe it's gonna be.
So that means you got 24 hours that day to continue working on it.
Yeah, that's true. So I definitely will. I will use the whole Saturday for it, and yeah, ideally also Sunday. So if it's the 2nd of May, I'm also happy with it. And
you should make it a hackathon in quotation marks with your teammate and record it and record your screens, and that's the content right there, man. And then maybe just you open the stream or the recording or whatever, just live stream it, then you don't have to edit it.
Make a Twitch stream.
Yeah, hell, why not? Or YouTube, right? You said you're going to start a YouTube channel anyway. And you start with the commitment, we are going to go live. If you think there is a remote possibility that you can, and then whatever you are getting done by midnight, press that button.
Yeah, that's it then. Yeah, maybe.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I would watch.
Yeah, same here. Like I want to pop in, especially when you start marketing it. Well, you'd have to do that tomorrow, and really that would be it. And say, hey, plan on launching this product here as a startup, and we're going to launch it, no matter what, on Saturday. And me and my team member will be here, for all 24 hours of the day to squash any production urgent issues.
Oh man.
You're not going to get like 1 million watchers, right? But the content is, you're going to, even if it's just a couple of hours which you're going to do, you're going to get so much content out of this, which you can reuse.
Yeah, it's true. I'll have to talk to Stefan if that works for him, because he's a family man, with children and all. So it's not that easy, I think, especially on a Saturday. But I'll get back to him. Maybe I'll just do it myself, but I'm not so sure about that, because I think I would be more, let's say, productive if I'm not streaming it, because then when you stream it, you always have like so much pressure, kind of. So it's.
But do you if no one's watching?
If no one's watching, no, of course not. But then what's the point of streaming it at all?
Because someone might want to watch the inception of this idea once you're a millionaire.
Yeah. Okay.
Like next month, basically.
Yeah. I know, if you pay me $1 million.
All right, I will if Justin pays me $1 million.
Okay, cool. So we have the agreement. No, but I think in general the progress here is quite good, I would say. So yeah, I'm trying to make it happen 1st of May. I mean, my Twitter and my Instagram and everything got a little bit like I got super lazy with that, which is also not good. I really should step that up a little bit, because I was planning on making this like, how can I say, this alphabet challenge, kind of, where I go the next 26 days with like each letter of the alphabet and then like describing something about Plot Maniac, which on Instagram at least it got quite an it was quite good in my opinion. On Twitter not so much, but now it's the 26 days I think are almost over, and I'm only at the letter N so far. So it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I really should get that going and maybe tweet about additional stuff, especially like once we're live. Then there might be more interesting things to come. So yeah, I
look at Buffer, Timo, or similar tools like Buffer to schedule your social media interactions. That might help you while you have kind of, a motivation, and then just schedule like 10, right? Or do 7 letters on Sunday, and then they can just go out throughout the week.
Yeah, that makes totally sense. I was thinking about that too, and but I've not done it yet. So I will definitely look into that. Makes sense, just to have some consistency at least. Yeah, but that's my status. I really hope I can do it 1st of May. You guys are invited to check it out once it's live.
I signed up. I didn't get anything yet. I signed up, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, but you're not supposed to get anything. You will get the notice when we go live. But I know you signed up. I saw it.
Oh, you don't send like a confirmation or something either?
Yeah, no. I just show a small success bar on the website.
Yeah, okay.
But
that's not bad. Justin's a little bit of a stickler for getting confirmations. He was on my case there the other day for his missing Stripe receipt.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it might have validated and was successful on the client side, but did you actually get it on the server side?
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it. we did discover something which was important to fix. So, like I always say, all feedback's good feedback. You never know how your customer thinks. So
that's true. Yeah. So and that's why I also think maybe just get it out there and then hope people will sign up and give me some feedback on it. So might be good. Hopefully.
Awesome. So I don't know if you guys noticed this. You might not, because these incremental changes don't feel like a lot. But take a moment, and Steve, if you're watching the end of this recap, I don't know, not of this session, I don't know if you will. Think back to the beginning of the cohort and how far you guys have come. It's pretty impressive, right? I mean, we're not millionaires yet, but really think about it. Like every single one has made quite some progress, different ways, pivots included. But if nothing else, you have ruled some things out which you don't want to do, right? And for Arki and Steve, for example, next idea now, it's like already, the first idea took a month throughout the cohort. The second idea took kind of like a week, right? To almost refine to the point it took a month last time. Yeah. That's what this is all about, right? So really, it's more than you think. It doesn't feel like this. We don't feel it if we're in the middle of it, right? But it's working.
I think it's interesting too, like we kind of go through highs and lows together a little bit somehow. Like that's cool, man. It seems like when one of us is down, like we're all kind of experiencing the same stuff. And then like now we're kind of having this, like we're all pivoting a little bit almost. And it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, but it's really amazing. And like, especially that, like the idea shift, for example, for you, Aki, that you had, is really cool. Like, you figured out, okay, this project didn't work. Now you try the dry rub thingy. But the important thing is, or the cool thing, what I think about the cohort group is, you actually should focus on like getting it done. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I really struggled with now with my project, because in the beginning everything was like going so smooth, and you had this 80%, I would say, and then you're like, I don't want to finish it. It's like it's so hard. But now I'm kind of almost there. So I'm really almost getting it done, and then let's see how everything works. And then maybe at some point, I don't know, I continue or I get another idea, and then everything starts from the beginning. It's really, really amazing. So yeah, I don't know. I like this group here.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Absolutely agreed. I feel the same way.
I'm glad to hear it. So we're gonna keep this going for a little while longer then.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, let's do it.
This was my sneaky way of getting kind of your
5
feedback
bucks.
and if you're happy.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic, guys. No, this is I really this was a really good session today. I don't know if we just all have a good day, but like it really feels like one of the most, dare I say, monumental sessions so far of this peer group.
It's the new professional setup, Sven.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
I think it helps. It's a different experience too.
Yeah, new is always better, right?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So,
All right.
Justin, go get something to eat. It was great to see you guys. I'll talk
See
to
you
all of you
guys.
next week.
All right.
All right,
Goodbye.
guys. See you.
Bye.
See you guys.